Hello and welcome to the SamMobile podcast. I'm your host Ben from SamMobile, and welcome to episode 19 of your weekly SamMobile podcast, where we give you all the latest news in the world of Samsung, wrapped up in a week for this podcast. And for this week, boy, it's jam-packed. We're going to be talking about 1 week with One UI 5 Beta 1. Yes, the beta program for One UI is official for the Galaxy S22 series. We've done breakdowns, so spent a week with it. We're going to discuss our thoughts and our findings so far. And of course, it's Unpacked week, and things really did get unpacked. 5 new products from Samsung: Z Fold 4, Z Flip 4, and also the Watch 5 Pro. The Watch 5 and the Buds 2 Pro are now official, and my goodness, there's a lot to discuss. So literally, it's going to be one of those shows. But yeah, we're going to really get in and discuss about it. So as we always like to say, get your meal, get your popcorn, get your drink, because it should be, of course, a good show. So we are jumping straight into episode 19. Man, we've been going at this for a little while. And if you're listening and watching this, definitely give us a follow, give us a rating, like, subscribe, and turn the notifications so you don't miss this podcast on your weekly and also on your favorite platforms as well, whether it be on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, or all your favorite podcasts and listening platforms. But yeah, first one we're going to jump into, man, we are going to be talking about all things One UI 5 Beta 1. Yes, One UI 5 is official, and this is Samsung's idea, Samsung's version of Android 13 for this year. And it's been a bit of a mad one with this one. Android 13 with One UI 5. We've done coverage on it, as we did say, you know, we are the home for all things One UI. So if you want to see our breakdown videos, we would have done 2 breakdown videos at the time of this recording. Yeah, we definitely recommend that you go to the SamMobile YouTube channel to get a full breakdown and basically check out and see what's new and what's different compared to One UI 4.1, which is the official software that we have right now on the Galaxy S22 series. And it's been an interesting one. Firstly, how Samsung does their beta rollout is just very, very meh, personally. But I'm based in the UK. How did it all happen? So this was 5th of August. So 5th of August, which was on a Friday last week. Yeah. So as I'm recording this, it's Thursday. Yes, Thursday the 11th. It's Thursday the 11th as I'm recording this right now, just to give a reference. So yeah, I think it was around 11 a.m., 12 p.m., midday. You know, I was getting messages from people that, hey, check your Samsung members up. Maybe, you know, One UI is now popping up. But it was only available in Germany. Yeah, so it was only available in Germany. Didn't have full access to the changelog to really see what the differences were. And obviously, the phones that I'm running are the S22 Plus. And obviously, we've got the S22 Plus here for our video watchers. S22 Plus, S22 Ultra. We're running them since launch day on the 14th. And yeah, nothing came up, not available in Germany. So it was only available in Germany. So had to sideload it. And the ADB command process, it's not that hard, but it's not something I do on a regular basis, if I'm going to be honest with you. So yeah, managed to get the right file, because again, I'm running the Exynos model. So it's the S90B model. Obviously during the week we did the software coverage that on the 31st of July, the August security patch was actually available for the S22 series, which is great to see. So what I noticed is that for you to sideload it, you have to make sure that you're on the latest August security patch for your particular model, be it Snapdragon, Exynos, and then within the region with the right, serial code that's on there. First try, managed to sideload it in there, but then yeah, kind of went in a bit blind, because on the surface level, not much looked different. And without a changelog, it becomes very difficult. So, what then I had to do was just make sure that I didn't, sideload One UI 5 on my S22 Plus, because that's going to be the easiest way to visually demonstrate what are the difference between the official software and a beta software, especially it being beta 1. And yeah, we were able to pull it off. I'll pull up the video just so you can see, and we can just, kind of run through it a little bit. Regardless of how Samsung does their beta program, because I know that it ended up being available in the USA as well with their T-Mobile carrier. So credit where credit's due. Obviously, Google are on, Android 13 beta 4 at the minute, and they're pretty much wrapping up to have the official version of Android 13 ready, because theirs is very, very stable on their Pixel devices, and it should be September, no later than October, when the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro series comes out alongside their Pixel Watch. So credit to Samsung for being the first company outside of Google, especially at this early stage, to be on beta, right? They want to give themselves a little bit more time compared to last year, when we were doing our One UI 4 coverage. And it's a good look. It's a good look. So credit where credit is due. We're gonna switch it up and basically see what we have right here. And we dropped. Man, I had to bust a crazy all-nighter. And it's near enough impossible to pick up every single little detail at the time, right? It is impossible to do that. But we managed to pick up what we could pick up, and pretty much kind of, give the first look and first breakdown of Android 13. One of the first things you're going to notice is obviously the Easter egg. Yeah, so the Easter egg is interactive now compared to Android 12, which is really nice. Whether you press the center or you press around, it goes through like a list of different emojis, and makes it just fun. Easter eggs are fun, right? They may not be as flavorful as the yesteryears of obviously the desserts and whatnot, but at least there's a bit more fun that's come back into this one with Android 13, with how you can just interact with it, and pretty much go with that in that sense. Build number, obviously for my particular model, we've got the S22 Ultra on the right, and obviously the build number ends in ZVH4. And if you compare that, that is the AVG6, which is on the August patch for One UI 4.1 on Android 12, Android 13 that we have right here. Pretty much dive straight in. And what are the features that we're looking at here? Really is much of the same. It's an evolutionary jump. There's more options to color palette now. Color palette really leans into the aesthetics of the OS a lot more in terms of the headings, the writings, and that's something that you notice more, funny enough, with dark mode. In light mode, it is prominent as well, but it feels more prominent in dark mode from what I've seen, especially with as you're seeing through the different colors that circle around and what you can pick through. Slight transition changes, headers that have been removed and been added back and forth. So color palette definitely gets leaned into a lot more when it comes to what they've been able to do. Widgets, so stacked widgets is something that they've really updated with all apps, all sizes, because you had smart widgets from before, but smart widgets were literally, you couldn't really control them, and I believe they were limited to certain apps as well. Yeah, they were limited to like at least 3 different apps. They didn't have that much control, but obviously with the stack widgets right now, what you have alongside is the ability to literally just customize them, reorder them, size them up equivalently. As well as sizing them up equivalently, what you do have is the ability to just auto rotate them, which is good. You can delete them as well, which is good. There's just more flexibility in terms of what you can do with the stacked widgets, which is, it's really nice to see. I liked it. Would it encourage me to use widgets more? Not sure. But I think to keep the home screen clean, packaging all the widgets that's in there that actively works, I think that really works really well. I think it works really well. In terms of the caller ID settings as well, so they've kind of streamlined the overall aesthetics and the look. The send a message if you're ringing, definitely you've got a drop down for that as well. There's new native backdrops when it comes to obviously caller IDs being called and whatnot. But the main thing that you can do is you can actually change each individual contact's background, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a photo, but it can be a video. So you can have a funny video of them so it's them. Whatever it is, you can go into each individual contact, scroll down to the overflow menu, and you pretty much have it there. So functions wise, those are good. Really from here, we're seeing that a lot of the stuff that you have right now, it's more down to aesthetics and repositioning. That's the best way I can put it. There's a lot of toning down, a lot of repositioning. Some I don't know if I like. Some I think takes away the soul of what they've got there, and some it adds to it. So you've got here app permissions in terms of notifications control. There's more visualization, so you can actually see the notification types, which is good to see, rather than it just being detailed or brief. There's good amount of options there. In terms of the sounds and the vibrations, aesthetically, it's more the fact that you've got a different look. You've got different looks. At the top, you can see that you've got sliders there. And then you can see there's more of the Material U color accents that's built. You can see the accents of the color in the backdrops, right? A lot more than you could do on One UI 4.1. It's very, very subtle. It's very, very subtle. Very subtle. Then you've got a dedicated connected devices area. Again, this is part of the relocation where, instead of advanced features having things like DeX linked to Windows, Android Auto and stuff, it's actually parked in the connected devices and is literally sitting below what you would do in terms of the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and obviously connections that's there as well. Auto switching, again, with the Buds. Again, Buds 2 Pro should be coming in. Again, as of Thursday, more of the North American, journalists and reviewers are getting their review units. I'm still waiting for mine, hopefully. Grateful to have them. But yeah, we want to really get to work so we can really give you our thoughts and our opinions on it. Notifications are a lot more bolder as well. And these are the elements of Material U that they're leaning into. So this is the permissions dialog, which does look directly from Google's Pixel experience with Material U. And people are torn in between. There's the camp that's like more Material U. The ones like, no, we don't want that. We want Samsung to actually do a refresh and have their own, identity. And I'm like, yeah. And obviously now they've compartmentalized where, the biometrics and the privacy and the control are, rather than having them all at separate places. You can now, without using Knox, add multiple user profiles, like guest and individual profiles, just like what you would do on a computer. And it's great to see this in there. I have a feeling this was there from before, but Samsung took this out because of Knox, but they've not added it back natively. Labs. Oh, this is one of the core functions that really improves. The 2 additional, multitasking options that you can toggle on. The swipe for pop-up view, swipe for split screen. The swipe for split screen, I really love. Really love. And what's good is that you've got visualization that shows you the benefits of how these work. And obviously with the full screen for dual screen and split view, it's good. So you've got these massive 6.7, 6.8 inch displays, to use as much as the real estate as possible, optimize the software. As you can see it, the 2-finger swipe works flawlessly. Flawlessly. Like how more it's a flawless victory. It really does feel that way. Oh. So we've got the optimizations and differences in looks for device digital well-being as well. Then you've also got, device care. Now there wasn't the view details was literally the one view button that was just added as well, which is good to see. You've got an icon or you've got a render of the device that you're using, as well as the color of it as well, which matches, which is good to see. On the quick settings panel, you can see that here you've got the active apps, which is it's I'm gonna give my thoughts and opinion of what we feel so far, and we will be doing a review of One UI 5 beta, and this is not going to be a breakdown video, but it will be like an experience review of our time with it so far. You've got the OCR feature. This I really found very powerful. The text extraction and just how it can do it in real time, extract the text. Yeah, it's looking very, very good. It's looking very, very good. It's one of the things that I was actually very impressed about. I don't know if it's my favorite feature, but yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those. Okay, yeah. So this is where we're seeing it with text extraction on the Samsung internet and also through screenshots as well. This is so like, this is really tapping into like, the text extraction, which is really good to see from Samsung here. I think this is probably one of those core functionality highlights next to multitasking, I was really digging a lot more than I was expecting. So yeah, it's a good look. It's a good look. It's a very good look, actually. It's a very good look. And this is obviously extracting it through. Animations, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on this. I really couldn't see any difference. And in fact, I think there's some work that needs to be done here in certain areas, especially when it comes to launching a camera. It's beta software, but yeah, there was no real news on any improvements. Now, the higher end Samsung phones never had the watermarking feature on your pictures, but it's been you are able to add it now. You're able to add the date and time. Obviously, you can put like a custom writing as well. You can change the font and alignment. I think there's 4 different fonts. I put the Roboto one, which is obviously the one that's their default. Then you've got the Samsung Sans, Sharp Sans, which is very, very interesting. Now, in terms of the stability, this is literally the first wrap up, right? I'm gonna go back. Shout out to Team No Sleep. Barely got any sleep to make that come out, but it's all worth it when we do see the response. So, you know, over everyone, all the new subscribers and all the new viewers over at SamMobile TV YouTube, we really appreciate that. It's I had the multitasking bug at first, but I think it's settled in. I've not experienced that anymore. The experience with it is overall okay, but I'll be very, very honest. In my early 1 week impressions of it all, after digging through, I think the last area that I need to really investigate, I'll probably do a separate video for, is potentially Dex, because Dex has some new implementations that's in there based on the changelog when I was looking at. I was expecting a UI change. I think visually, and I'm not talking about visually make it look more like one Material U or Google Pixel experience. I don't buy that. I think there's a lot of people that always try to make it seem like Samsung should just literally just copy everything Google does. And I'm like, the days of the Google Play Edition are gone. You know, we don't have these Samsung high-end flagship phones that have a Google Play Edition. You know, the GPE Edition, they were goated. That was like the S4 era. I missed those. They were great. The implementation just made so much sense. I wish they carried on. I would pay the extra premium to have that kind of experience, right? I actually would. That's just me personally. But gone are the days. We don't have that anymore. But I feel like, in my personal opinion, visually, One UI is looking a little bit stale now. Me personally. It might not be the case for anyone else, but I was hoping for visual change. Okay, we didn't get the visual change. But I personally think that the animation smoothness and, okay, maybe not the animation smoothness, but the smoothness consistency is something that they really need to double down on, because at this point, these software are so mature that it has to be in the finer details. There are some nice touches in there that I really like. Obviously, smart widgets I really like. There's a follow-up that obviously we did in terms of, you know, the more things that we find. But I feel like there's certain areas that have been really toned down. Again, I don't use Bixby routines as much as I would like to, and I think it's a really, really powerful, automated, you know, smart routine measure. But I feel like there's a lot of visualizations that have been toned down. Which kind of just makes it not look friendly, kind of feels very bog standard, you know. And I know that it is meant to be like a streamlined look that gives better access to certain things and whatnot. But yeah, it's I'm indifferent to it. Obviously, this is beta 1. We've got a decent amount of way to go. Everything else is just like visual inputs and aesthetics changes. So on the second breakdown video, we really went into extra little things that we picked up. And again, there's always going to be more to pick up, right? It's almost near enough impossible to pick up every single thing straight away. And if you do, the breakdown videos end up being about 40 to 30 minutes, you know, attention span for speed. So it's always good to split up as we discover it as we go. It's an okay experience. Let's just put it this way: that this is evolutionary. It's an evolutionary change. It's not anything majorly revolutionary like what Google did with their Pixel experience on Android 12 with the whole principle of Material You. They've adapted, they've implemented as much, but One UI itself, as what people like to call skin, but I like to call the icing layer, needs a visual overhaul. And certain things really just need to be tightened and polished up now, and I think this is something that they really need to step into for beta 2, beta 3. And I think they will do up to beta 4 before the official over-the-air update comes somewhere between October to November, as we're suspecting. It's their idea of Android 13. It's not the overhaul that maybe we're all expecting and hoping for, especially the build up and a hype to it, especially with how on job Samsung have been to really get onto it first outside of Google. And it shows just how much they're wanting to just make the statement, because again, I discussed at the beginning of that week and I said that Samsung are pretty much playing home turf. So they're playing away. If you think of Champions League, right, they're the away team just dominating at the minute because they have quicker monthly updates. They're on the August update for, most of their newer devices, where Google's still on July. They're struggling with certain stuff on the Pixel 6a in terms of, getting the update up. But at the same time, there's a certain polish, finesse, and tightness to the OS that you still feel it from time to time. It's not a speed issue, and it's not lack of fluidity. It's just consistency, pacing, right? It's better way to put it is pacing. Which is a bit unfortunate. So my initial thoughts of One UI 5 Beta 1 right now is that it feels right at home. If things feel very, very, very similar. Things feel very, very similar. There are some strong places that I'm really liking what I'm seeing. With the multitasking, the fact that they are bringing features that are already there, but to the forefront and making it easier to activate. My favorite is the 2-finger to swipe up. That just works so well. But on top of that as well, the second breakdown video, the ability to go into split view from the recent app menu, where you can just press and hold on the desired app and you can just, pan up, pan bottom. It does the animation float around, and you're in your split view mode and you can just pan, move, rotate. This is great. It's almost giving you that level of flexibility that the Fold series do. It would never be the same as a Fold, because obviously that's carrying a mini tablet display. But it's good to see all those elements that's been put in there, right? Only time will tell as we go. We're going to be doing daily coverage. Well, maybe not daily coverage. It's near enough hard enough doing the weekly coverage. But yeah, this week we've knocked out a decent amount. I think managing expectations is something that really comes into play when it comes to this. And overall, it's been an okay experience. I like the improvements to the camera UI, especially when it comes to Pro mode. I like the fact that you can watermark your pictures. I actually find that useful, at least if not the time and date part of it. But yeah, I guess One UI 5 is here. Samsung's idea of Android 13 and what that basically means. And I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be jumping jacks and saying, hey, I'm enjoying it thoroughly. This is so revolutionary. No, it still doesn't give me that vibe that we're still expecting from One UI, but I do appreciate how willing and on it Samsung are to make sure that they're getting, room to test these beta software, to be getting us to the final stages and really just, harken to it and just, it's good. It's a good look. It's a good look regardless. Like, we take it for what it is. We'll cover it in detail. We'll take it for what it is. It's good what they're doing. It is impressive. But we're just hoping that if the aesthetics are going to stay the same, come beta 3, we should be seeing like a level of fluidity that really just, sets it apart. And if it doesn't, then it's almost going to be like, is it something that we really should be expecting from Samsung, especially when One UI is so heavily packed in terms of features and duplications of apps? Might be asking too much for the underpinnings layer. The extra icing on top of that cake, yeah, it's quite large for One UI. For good reason, but it's quite large. for good reason, but it's quite large. But yeah, One UI 5 beta 1, Android 13, it's here. Watch our coverage. Our thoughts on it right now is that it's evolutionary, not revolutionary. And certain things that are not working so far, a few features are not working. We'll get to that and, see when it does work. And then we'll be giving our thoughts and opinions on a review on One UI 5 beta 1. But yeah, that is topic 1 out of the way, where we discussed all things One UI 5 beta 1 with Android 13. Next is going to be 5 devices to power through very quickly, and the next topic to really wrap it up. My favorite, which is obviously Team Fold, the Z Fold 4. Then we've got the Z Flip 4. Watch 5 Pro, which is a controversial product, man. Watch 5 Pro, as well as what we've got with the traditional Watch 5. And yes, the Buds 2 Pro. We're going to talk about all 5 products, my thoughts and opinions on it, what we think about it at SamMobile. And yeah, pretty much wrap it up from there. So not going too far, we'll be right back. And we are back. Hope you didn't go too far. I tried not to. Indeed, it was just a short water break, but then we are back in. Of course. If you thought One UI 5 was all big with beta 1, then yeah, Unpacked, baby. 10th of August, 2 p.m. BST, British Summertime, UK. All the products were announced and just slew in, and we have the Galaxy Z Fold 4, and we're going to go through that. The Flip 4 as well. Then we got the Watch 5 Pro. These are the 3 main ones that are really, really big in the new. Then obviously we've got the Watch 5, which comes in 2 different sizes, and then we've got the Buds 2 Pro. Interesting. Now, I will say this, just as a mini quick rant, I personally don't like how Samsung does embargoes anymore. I think it just takes away from the Unpacked event. I'm going to give an example why. I don't see why the embargo of the event is the same as the product press release. It should be after the event. Should be 1 hour later after the event, when the event is done. Don't know why it's the same time. It dilutes the event. It takes from paying any attention to the event. Here's why I say this. Throughout all our briefings for all the new products, when we had the Galaxy S22 series this year at the end of January into February, no one mentioned in any of the briefings that Samsung devices going forward were going to get 4 years of OS version updates. That was in the Unpacked event. All of us missed that. So none of us could put that in our videos, which is a big deal in my personal opinion. And it's something that we gave them feedback. It's something they're still adamant on doing. On top of that, it stops any of us from watching Unpacked for any surprises. Even us that get early access to the products. Ask me if I watched Unpacked. I didn't watch Unpacked. Don't know what happened in Unpacked. And there's almost no incentive. There's almost no incentive. So that's just feedback. That's just kind of like a mini friendly rant that in a grand scheme of things, is it the end of the world? No. But really, I just don't see why that's done that way. But regardless, I had 2 separate sessions. I had a session with the, wearables and hearables, which is obviously the 2 watches and the Buds 2 Pro first. And then I got, hands-on with the Fold 4 and the Z Flip 4. And we'll start with the Fold 4. We will start with the Fold 4 and kind of just gauge, what my thoughts and opinions are. And I think with our breakdown videos, definitely go watch it and see what my thoughts and opinions were, because I think it's a weird case of deja vu. Sometimes when I'm scripting my thoughts and opinions on something, references start coming into mind. Again, it might excuse for any background noise that you can hear. We're suffering some weird heat wave this week in the UK. I have to open a window or else I'm going to sweat like a PIG, and I don't really want to be doing that. But off the tangent, as someone that owned the Fold 2, used it heavy, used the Fold 3 heavy as well, which I still got around, it feels like deja vu. It feels like the trimmings treatment, right? It's the little things. It's the little things compartmentalized, put together. Instead of having a 24.5 by 9 aspect ratio, we have a 23.1 by 9 aspect ratio. Let's just say 23 by 9. Just slightly narrower than the 22 by 9 inner display aspect ratio that you find on something like the Flip 4. because obviously they've made the aspect ratio wider on the outer cover display by 2.7 millimeters, which is good to see. It's still wider. The design of it goes for glossy edges, which I feel like is one of those changes that they've made just to differentiate itself from the previous model. I would have really just loved them to stuck to a matte rail. Obviously the edges themselves are flatter, more rounded, which I think visually look good. I'm just indifferent to them. You can see that the inner crease, the same. Now they've reduced the weight of it down by 8 grams compared to obviously what we found on the Fold 3. So I think it's about 263 grams. I'm just going off head right now. I love the beige color. Funny enough, I think I'm just going through a phase where the last nice dark matte finish phone that they did well was S21 Ultra. Anything after that's kind of been boring to me personally. So the beige color was really sticking out to me. The gray green is also another interesting finish. That's also another nice one. But for some reason, I'm really akin to the beige color. The beige color is something that sticks out to me really well. Matte finish, Corning Gorilla Glass, Victus, plus for the cover display as well as the back panel. Obviously, inside has a slightly stronger UTG ultra thin glass that they're using as well. Still not strong enough to use standard S Pen. And we're going to talk about S Pen. Basically, just think of everything S Pen supported on the Fold 3, where you need the S Pen Fold Edition as well as the S Pen Pro for it to, work. It's the same treatment here. You can tell that the cover display is wider, but it feels like in the margins, but yet enough that, it is wider, right? So that's one of the areas that we've got in terms of, the display experience. You can't set the refresh rate separately. It's a good improvement. It's a good improvement. Obviously, the adaptive tech is really improved inside. Apparently, obviously, it's 1 hertz up to 120 hertz. That's for the inner display, and the outer cover display is 48 hertz to 120 hertz. So very similar to what you're getting on the S22 series for the cover display. But the cover display still has no S Pen support. The inner display still has the crease. One thing I was very impressed with was the under display camera. It feels way more invisible than before, in my personal opinion. You look for it, you're gonna see it. Yes. But in more backgrounds, even in the lightly colored backgrounds, honestly, I subconsciously did not pick it up as much as I picked up with the Fold 3 when I was using it, or as I've been using it within that time. But yeah, the crease is there. And I always defend this, that your only saving grace with the Fold series is that you physically do not interact with the crease. If you do physically interact with the crease, it's very rare, and it's in different orientations, right? But generally speaking, you don't physically interact. You don't physically interact with the crease. So there's almost a saving grace there in that sense, right? There is almost a saving grace there in that sense, but it is there. And I think there is a bit of the tamper expectations. It is a folding screen phone, right? So it's just that because we've seen some of the other competitions, maybe not on a global scale, negate the crease a lot more. We were kind of expecting that it's their 4th generation of the Fold specifically. We would have seen something improved on that side, but we didn't. Which is unfortunate. But specs and performance, these are Samsung's most powerful because they've moved over to the 4nm TSMC process that is using Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256, 512, and you do have a 1TB option, which is only available online. And these are Samsung's most powerful mobile devices this year, even more powerful than the S22 model, especially if you're talking about the Exynos 2200. And what that should give you is a better neural processing unit and, better ISP, image signal processors as well. So we're going to talk about the camera in a minute, but what they've been able to do in terms of the performance is really good. Battery capacity is still 4,400 milliamps. Obviously, they kind of had to do that to keep the weight down, as well as obviously using armor aluminium, cutting some of the trimmings off, slimmer bezels. And then we have the camera. I think this is the biggest upgrade yet. Finally, just think of everything that is great about S22 Plus camera. It's the same hardware, same selfie, same main camera at the back, same. Some of the trainers that I was speaking to were trying to say similar, but I personally think backed with the flexibility of what a foldable brings because of the flex hinge and the fact that it's got an 8 Plus Gen 1 with Qualcomm's much more superior image processing, especially if you're looking at the Exynos model for us with the Exynos 2200. I'll be dead serious with you. I think this will be a better camera than the S22 Plus. It will sit nicely below the S22 Ultra, minus the colossal 10x optical zoom, right? Minus that colossal 10x optical zoom. And in some cases, minus the 108 megapixel sensor because it's a lot larger, not just in pixel resolution, but with the, nano binning, pixel binning, should result in cleaner images. But again, that's yet to be seen, especially with the superior image signal processing of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. And obviously the fact that you can now use very, very high quality rear selfies as well because of the cover display, man, those 50 megapixel selfies are going to come out really nice. And Samsung's portrait mode is good. 8K 24 frames a second as well. So it's a very interesting place of where they are. Now, particularly, we now do have Android 12L, if we're referring to the Fold 4, One UI 4.1.1, Android 12L. And again, this is good. We're building up from what Google were promising in terms of the better adaptation to tablets and foldables. And obviously now we've got the taskbar at the bottom, which is really good to see. The camera UI also sees the benefit of now because you've got the further extended zoom range with the new 10 megapixel 3x optical zoom, just like what you found in the S22 Plus. It's good that you can, see a bigger viewfinder of the, zoom lock preview window. Obviously, app pairs now is something that we've been familiar with, up to 3 apps at the same time for that big 7.6 inch canvas. But it's something that you can actually put on the taskbar as well now, which is great. And obviously the taskbar is something that you can enable and disable at the same time throughout the settings. So it's good to see it. Again, once we get it in-house, we're going to do a comparison of One UI 4.1.1 versus One UI 4.1, Galaxy Z Fold 4 versus the Z Fold 3, and really see how that goes about as well, which is lovely to see. So that's pretty much in terms of the software, the camera, and it's up there. It's an expensive cookie, £1,649. It's up there. £1,769. It's up there. £2,019 for the 1 terabyte model. Yeah, it's really up there. So that's the Fold 4. I'm Team Fold. I'm still excited. I think it's just it's still in a case of deja vu, right? But I do think it will pull itself through just because the camera just being, although when I get in the ultra cameras, the fact that the camera is in line with what we're getting with the S22 Plus and potentially will be better because of the more superior image processing. Yeah. But next, what we have here is the Flip 4. We're going to try and power through this quickly because I need to give my opinion pieces on these. Flip 4. What we have here with the Flip 4 is the foldable for the masses that really popularized foldables that just wasn't for me. And then obviously I will explain why the Flip isn't for me. It's not because of the productivityness of the Fold 4. I've always been Team Flip before foldables came into their play, especially when they were first announced back at the SDC 2018, back in October, November 2018 period, right? I always imagined myself preferring a more compact version of a normal phone because I'd been so used to that over the years. Little did I know that the Fold 2 was going to change that. The Z Fold 2 really, 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 really changed that. Really, really changed that. So it's interesting. It's interesting. So what we got? We got graphite, pink gold, boral purple, and obviously the blue. And then obviously boral purple is one of those. It's the hero color. Boral purple is the hero color, and it's, for me, again, I would say between the boral purple and also the pink gold, yeah, the pink gold is doing it for me. Boral purple probably up there, back and forth. I don't know which one is going to come in and which one I'm going to be using, but we'll see. But again, the standard colors, I've just kind of moved away from them. I'm kind of bored of the standard colors. I need a bit more vibrancy. Maybe it's just a phase that I'm going through. But, I rocked the Mystic Bronze on the Fold 2, like heavy. No case as well. Heavy. So the design again goes for the glossy edges, more flatter, rounded. You've got a power button that acts as the capacitive fingerprint sensor, like what you find on the Fold 4 as well. The design is more compact, but you won't really notice it, in my personal opinion, unless you had a flip 3 on reference on site. Same as the display. Again, the adaptive tech has improved to 1 Hz down to up to 120 Hz. It's still full high definition plus 22:9 aspect ratio. And it's obviously using a dynamic AMOLED display. The cover display is still 1.9 inches. Again, it's adaptive tech. And again, you get more functions on there because of the software. More or less the same, but slimmer bezels help into the compact nature of it, but it's still 6.7 inches as well. Specs and performance, it gets the same treatment. Most powerful, Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and you do get the 128 gigabytes of storage, 256, and you do have a 512 gig option right now, which it's quite up there in terms of the price. In UK, we had a price increase because of inflation and stuff, but US things seem to still be the same. So specs wise is up there. They're really proud to mention it. But the biggest one for me, 3,700 milliamp hour battery, puts on par with the standard S22 37 milliamp hour battery. But instead of 15 watt charging, it's 25 watt charging. Still got reverse wireless charging and power share as well, which I'm really, really glad to see. Very, very, very much glad to see that. I think this is going to be a very, very good, worthwhile improvement with it compared to, what we had before. 3,300 was a lot on the low side. Now, the camera doesn't see the same major upgrade like what we saw on the Fold 4. It is still doing 12 megapixels. So we couldn't even get the 50 megapixel sensor, same as. But what they've done is, again, they haven't told a specific sensor size, but because it's 12 megapixels and the pixel size has increased from 1.4 to 1.8 micron pixels, it is slightly bigger in terms of the sensor size. We don't know what the actual dimensions of it are, but come the full review, we'll clarify that. So that should help. Obviously, the inner display is still doing a selfie hole punch. It's 10 megapixels, no 8K, still 4K. And software-wise, what we do have, it is Android 12, not L, because L is for the larger display. I was almost misinformed about that one, but it is One UI 4.1.1. More functions and features are down to the cover display. So the cover display gets a lot of love when it comes to quick replies. You're able to crop the desired aspect ratio when you're actually using the cover display for pictures, which you couldn't do before, funny enough. It was actually just squaring it out one by one, but you can actually put it in, and you can obviously change the different lenses for it as well, for the wide and the ultra wide. I still think for this price point, it would be good to have a triple camera lens. I do get the limitations, but at this price, a triple camera lens is still needed, and I kind of feel they need to figure out how they're going to pull that off. Third-party support when it comes to third-party apps like Instagram with Reels, with how it adapts to FlexHinge, is definitely an interesting one. Next is the Watch 5 Pro versus the Watch 5, and I think these two being put together really do make sense in terms of what's been done. This is another major change in direction for Samsung and what they're doing, right? What they're doing, and if we look at the Watch 5 Pro first, the Watch 5 Pro, again, there's the pressure of it's been given the Pro name extension, right? And it's up there. It's up there. Again, mentioning the price of the Flip 4, that's 999 UK pounds. 1,059 for the middle model, and then obviously you've got 1,199 pounds, which is 50 pounds more than the base model Galaxy S22 Ultra. So just to bear that in mind. The Watch 5 Pro only comes in one size. Which is obviously 45 millimeters. You've got the titanium gray and black titanium. I actually like the gray one, even though the black one is the more safer color to get in this case. No different sizes. It's a thick boy. But one thing that you are getting is they've eliminated the rotating bezel. The rotating bezel is gone. The rotating bezel is gone, which another thing that was tried and tested as a Samsung true unique selling point USP, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. And it's for context, I'm not much of a watch person, but I really appreciated that rotating bezel because it kept your finger off that very small 1.4 inch display as often as possible for navigation. And it really, really did such a good job in that sense. So I'm not saying I don't understand why they've done that. They've gone for ruggedness. When we asked them the question, they said that ruggedness was at the core and the center of this. The reason why it's thick, shock resistance, water resistance, 5 ATM and more. And if you look at the Watch 5 goes for the more traditional follow-up, 2 sizes, 40mm, 44mm, different colors that come with it as well, as we're seeing right now, with obviously the pink gold, the Bora purple, the graphite, and also the sapphire, the white. It's really nice in that sense, you know, clean, slimmer bezels, more of a traditional look. Obviously, you've got the D-buckle sports strap that's on the Watch 5 Pro. The Watch 5 feels right at home. It's what we know. It's what we know from the non-rotating bezel models. It's what we know. But in terms of obviously the specs and the performance, same chipset as last year, which really doesn't matter. It's the Exynos 5nm W920, 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of internal storage. But the main thing here that you're really going to start seeing the difference is this Watch 5 Pro has a colossal 590 milliamp hour battery. That's why it is as thick as it is. If you compare that to the 44mm Watch 5, that's 410, and then obviously the smaller one is 284. So this is really, really pushing for true all-day battery life with some form of intensive usage when it comes to a smartwatch. Again, One UI Watch version 4.5, Wear OS 3.5 as predicted. There's a lot of things around heart rate monitoring and sleep tracking and sleep wellness and sleep improvement stuff that they're doing, right? Which is an interesting one. So yeah, I think more time is needed because we couldn't connect these devices in, and the bioactive sensor is something that really just centralizes all of that together. So, I mean, wrapping it all up, these watches are interesting. The Watch 5s are nice. If we look at what's on offer there, it's quite expensive. It's up there. We're talking about £469 for the watch, for the Watch 5. And yeah, £299 for the 40mm watch. 329 for the 44mm Watch 5. But yeah, 406, that's more expensive than buying an A53. And I know it's in a different category, so it's not a direct apples to apples comparison, but it's expensive. It's up there. It's up there. It's up there. And I don't know what the justification is going to be and what that really means. But for me, I said it, for Pro, it needs to be up there with multiple days of battery life. Last but not the least, so following up from what we had in January 2021 with the Galaxy Buds Pro, we do have the Buds 2 Pro. Bluetooth 5.3, apparently that's meant to be supported on there. 15% smaller footprint. You have the white, you have the Bora purple, and you've got the graphite. In this case, the graphite would be my favorite color. I like the fact that they're still sticking to a stemless design, more flushed, kind of orb looking shape, which is 15% smaller, meant to fit much easier. Again, it was hard to fully gauge that. And the reason why it was hard to gauge that is that we couldn't use different tips. Obviously, the battery is 61 milliamps, 512 milliamps for the charging case, 5 hours of active, intelligent noise cancelling. And then obviously without the ANCs, 8 hours of battery life as their rating. We'll test that. It's an interesting one because one of the things that they claim in is 24-bit audio. Don't know how much that's going to help with Bluetooth. 24-bit up from 16. I mean, you take whatever improvements you can. But overall, these are decent. I need different tips for them to really test it. We couldn't connect it to our phones to do a sound test, unfortunately, or test how good the ANC was. It fits well. It looks flushed. But and again, it supports the auto switching as well. That is something that you see in One UI 5 beta that we showcased. So we're going to test that out. But the hard thing about this that I'm really trying to justify and see is £229. I think the pricing is up there as well. I think the pricing is up there, and we really just have to see how it goes in that sense. We're going to switch back and we're going to wrap this up, right? Highly recommend you go watch each individual breakdown video. We should be getting these review units in. We're going to unbox them, set them up, put our SIM cards in, connect them, use them how it's intended. And, before the purchase period, allow you guys to all have an idea of, what these devices are and if they're right for you, what devices you're coming from, where they are. Fold 4 is deja vu. Flip 4 is I think it's just going to pull it off in terms of striking again what it was able to achieve last year, but even better. Especially if we're looking at the dollar range, in dollars, it hasn't increased from the $999 price. We have a £50 increase in the UK, which is unfortunate because of inflation and stuff on our side. But I think it's going to be able to pull it off again, especially with the fact that the bespoke is available. And speaking of bespoke, I mean, there is a burgundy exclusive color online for Samsung for the Fold 4. But I said to them, man, why not just give Fold customers the option of bespoke as well? Hey, I know the Flip is more personalizable. Well, it's an expensive piece of tech as well. If we can get a bespoke option, let's have it as well. The Watch 5 Pro is going to be an interesting one because as someone that's not a watch person, I'm so interested to try it out because already not being a watch person, one of the most frustrating things for me on a smartwatch was just always remembering to charge it every night. And it was always an every night charge. And it's not, if this can negate it because it felt well balanced for it being 46.5 grams, I was quite impressed with how well balanced it felt. And that's going to be an interesting one. And as someone that, tests a lot of True wireless earbuds as well, that Buds 2 Pro has got his work out. Because £229, I'll be dead serious. That and the Watch 5 Pro, they're the ones that really need to justify where they need to be in terms of the Pro name at the end. Yeah. Because they're expensive. Good products, of course. I mean, we love Samsung, We are Samsung, we are all things related to Samsung. We're big fans of Samsung. They make great hardware. Software support has been A1 and probably the best for 2022 into 2023 if they keep going the way they're going, especially even with the launch of the beta. But overall, Unpacked was heavy. As someone that's a member of Team Fold, I'm looking forward to really testing it out and seeing if the differences are just enough. And I feel like there's going to be a Goldilocks effect of this where it will just about be enough. But yeah, highly recommend you go watch those individual breakdowns, give them my quick opinions and just kind of a roundup of just everything that's happened this week. It's been lots of sleepless nights, but I've enjoyed it. We enjoy moments like this, and we're going to have a lot of content pushing all the way through, where we're going to be doing lots of long-term reviews, comparison, re-reviews and stuff. We're in no rush, but we're going to do it as quickly as we can, but as thoroughly and properly as you can, so that you as our Samsung fans get the accurate depiction of how these devices are like. But yeah, that is it for me. That is episode 19 wrapped up. Ben Solo episode done. Thank you all for listening. Let us know your feedback, man. Just give us a rating, give us a feedback. Let us know what you would like to see more. There's more things to cover when it comes to the weekly podcast. We're going to keep it going as much as we can. But yes, as we like to say, hope you're all safe during this time, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.